Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. We'll just give it one more minute. Make sure that everyone has an opportunity to join. We'll be making a start in about a minute time. Okay, I think it's right at 12 p.m. Melbourne time, so we'll make a start now. And before we make a formal start, I would like to make sure that we have time for the acknowledgement of country. ACS acknowledges the traditional owners of the land on which we gather today across Australia. We pay our respects to their elders past and present, and we acknowledge their ongoing connection to land, sea and community, and extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. And just a little bit on housekeeping in terms of any questions that you may have for today, please feel free to utilize either the chat function or the Q&A section on Teams. We do have some time at the end of today's presentation to go through any Q&A as well. This session is recorded, and the recording of the webinar as well as the presentation deck, we'll be happy to share that with everybody via email after the event today. And please look out for an invitation to participate in our post-event survey. It'll only take a minute, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on how we go today. And hello, everyone. I am your host and presenter today. My name is Lamo Ma. I'm the operations manager for the Professional Year program here at ACS. And we also have two lovely guest speakers joining us today, which when we get to the guest panel discussion segment, I'll look forward to introduce them a little bit further to you as well. And let's take a look at what today's session is going to look like. We're here today to really provide you a comprehensive understanding of the ACS Professional Year in IT program. You may hear me down the track referring it as PY for Professional Year program. So I thought I'll make sure that you're used to the acronym first. So we'll start with welcome, which is what we're doing now, a bit of introductions to who ACS is and who we are. You'll get a really good overview of the Professional Year in IT program. For those who probably are looking at making a decision to apply, I also really want to dive in deeper into talking about what can you expect are the next steps, what are some of the crucial next steps for you. And of course, I'm very excited to have a segment where we have our guest speakers who are a current PY student and a recent graduate to share with us their experience and advice. And at the end, we'll make sure that we have some time for Q&A, and we'll wrap up the session as well. So for ACS, if you haven't really heard about us, we really are made up of four important pillars. There's community, where we have over close to 50,000 members that make up the community, whether it's locally across states and territories, that fostered that inclusivity and really making sure that people connect with people and making positive changes in technology in Australia. Our capability and career team also look at setting the standards for assessing, developing and recognizing the skills, experience required for technology professionals, and of course, as well as making sure that Australia has a healthy pipeline of talent going into the tech sector with the right skills and knowledge. And of course, there's me, where I'm sitting in the migration space, where we assess and support skilled technology migrant to launch their career, their tech career in Australia. So for ACS migration pathways, we really split into two main area. There's the migration skill assessment, where we have a team that not only handle a large amount of skill assessment applications, but also really making sure that there are events, webinars, services and support to anyone looking to enter this the skill migration journey. And then there's also the Professional Year in IT program, which is where I'm sitting at, that look at further facilitating the migration journey for some skill migrants. The services and engagement that our skill migrants have with ACS also allow them, offer them this membership experience where you get to build your professional network and also look at accessing resources that help you improve your technical and interpersonal skills as well. And here's my favorite part, which is talking to you about all things professional year in IT. And before I make a start, though, I do want to make sure that I make a clear disclaimer that ACS representatives, none of us are registered migration agents or legal practitioners. So what does that mean? It means the information that I'm presenting today is really designed to provide you general information, and it is using the current information at the time of me delivering this session. And it really shouldn't be used as immigration or legal advice as specifically for your situation. It should provide you a general idea. So if you do seek specific guidance and advice about your personal circumstance, your situation, I highly recommend you to refer to the Department of Home Affairs website, as well as the OMARA website, which provide you access to a list of registered migration agents. For most, if not all, of our audience today, you are probably an international student who is in the middle of your degree study here in Australia, or maybe you're about to finish by the end of this year, which is of course very exciting, or maybe you just recently graduated from your degree, and the thought of what are you going to do after university, I'm sure no doubt is something that is on the forefront of a lot of our international students and graduates' mind. There's a lot of different parts and a lot of options and consideration on what to do after university. And I think for those who sort of thinking about, hey, this is time for me to really sort of get out of studying, start using what I learned from textbook into real life practices, starting a career in and pursuing a career, particularly a tech career, in what you learn and study is highly likely to be a very desirable next step for you. But as we know, international students and graduates do face a number of barriers, particularly when it comes to living and working in Australia. And this is really where the Professional Year program sort of plays a role in making that journey just that little bit smoother. So what is the ACS Professional Year program? In 2008, which is a little while ago, the Department of Home Affairs created the Professional Year program, and the aim is really to help international students and recent graduates to transition into the Australian workforce as they look at entering into the skill migration journey. Currently, there are 3 professions that are authorised to deliver a Professional Year program, which are engineering, accounting, and of course there is IT. And for IT profession, ACS is the only gazetted body to deliver the Professional Year program. The PY program is ideal for any international students on finishing their degree in Australia, wanting practical support to help build confidence and the skills to get into the tech workforce, not anywhere but in Australia. If you are keen to expand your professional network and take charge of your own career development, and maybe also, of course, you're looking at a pathway to permanent residency in Australia as well. The ACS Professional Year in IT program, essentially, to boil it down, it's a job readiness program. It looks at bridging the gap between the full-time study that you just finished and the employment, the skilled employment that you want to get into in the Australia's tech sector. The program includes, you start off with 32 weeks of classroom-based work readiness training, and the curriculum of the training really focus on equipping graduates with those essential skills for the Australian workplace. So we're talking about everything from understanding the legal compliance and safety aspects and occupational knowledge of working in Australia, to developing those soft skills like the communication, how do you handle client services, how do you work in a team environment in the Australian workplace setting, and of course looking at your own career development here as well. And when the classroom trainings are done, and there is a 12-week local IT internship opportunity for our PY participant, where you get to gain hands-on experience and an opportunity to really start building up your network within the sector. And for a lot of our PY participants, it's also an opportunity to potentially secure a good reference from your employer that really help you set yourself apart in a very competitive tech job market landscape in Australia. And for a lot of our participants, it's that local IT experience that they often find as soon as they finish university study, they don't quite have, and they really need to have through their job search experience. And while you're in the internship, there is also concurrently a 13-week online career mentorship and IT skills development journey that is delivered by ACS. We call it the Professional Environments Online, or the PE Online course. It's an online course that is delivered by us and our lovely team of mentors, and the online course really look at providing you with personalized guidance that help you develop your professional skills, and most importantly also how to stay up to date with the tech industry trends, because it does change very frequently. And of course, along with the Professional Year program, you will also get a complimentary ACS membership as well. There's a lot of benefits of doing the Professional Year in IT program. I think other than being part of the solution to tackle what we currently have in Australia, which is a problem of tech skills shortages, is also really a way to looking at enhancing and building on those knowledge, IT knowledge, and turn them into skills and stay competitive in the job market. It helps you connect with industry professionals and build those really valuable relationships that support your career development. You also get to look at benefiting from that guaranteed internship that really look at gaining yourself the hands-on experience. I've been in several past events where international students are the focus, and I think we all often hear too many stories about applying for jobs and getting told that you've got the qualification, but you're lacking the local experience. So it is something that is problematic, but also what we look to, the program look to support and facilitate for international students and graduates. And of course, for the program being gazetted by the Department of Home Affairs, the graduate of this program may also be able to claim 5 points towards their skill migration under an eligible IT skill occupation as well. Being a job readiness program, we do look at the employment outcome very seriously because it is ultimately how we measure the efficacy of our program. So for a very long time, we like to really understand the employment outcomes through our destination survey with our PY graduates. So we specifically measure between 3 to 6 months after the Professional Year program completion, where did they land in terms of employment outcome? And I'm very happy to report that through our continuous improvements on content and delivery, year on year, we are seeing some really great results in terms of increasing the employment rate of our PY graduates, as well as very importantly, the employment rate in skilled IT-related job and roles. And what I'm also thought is quite interesting as well is that these figures do track fairly higher than if we look at the latest graduate outcome surveys that's conducted by Quilt, indicating really the benefits that it adds to graduates, particularly in gaining employment. There are entry requirements to get into the program and to be able to do well. Some of the firstly, for the professional year in IT program, you do need to have an IT major, bachelor degree or higher from an Australian institution, and you do need to meet the Australian study requirement as well that is set out by the Department of Home Affairs. You have to have a passport, and you do need to have a valid visa on that passport, and that visa needs to permit you to work full-time and study full-time. So usually we find for our professional year participants, that's usually a subclass 485 for them. Prospective applicants are also needing to have that visa valid for a minimum of 12 months from the date of the program commencement. And of course, there is an English language requirement, as well as after you submit the application to conduct an an interview with one of our accredited provider to make sure the eligibility is met and program suitability. Currently, we have ACS has 8 accredited providers who are delivering the programs at over 20 locations across all states and territory in Australia. So if you go to our website, which I will have a link later on, you'll be able to take a look at the providers more in details. So say you are in a position that you consider yourself as I am or I will be eligible very soon. I am considering an application in right now, or maybe in the next few months. I really want to make sure that we dive deeper into what do you need to consider in terms of some of the crucial next steps for yourself. From an application perspective, let's take a look at what's that process look like. First and foremost, research. There are 8 providers, and for many states and territories, there are multiple providers offering in the same in the same region. So research your providers and choose the right one for you. And while you are doing that, look at making sure that you've got the necessary documents. So we're talking about academic transcript. To apply, you do need to make sure that you have at the minimum a completion letter and a transcript from the degree that from the IT major degree that you have recently completed. Get your English language test results ready, prepare your resume, and of course, passport and visa and etc. With your supporting documents, you'll be able to make an application directly with your chosen PY provider, and they will get in touch with you and arrange for you to attend an interview. All applicants are required to undergo an individual pre-enrollment interview with their chosen PY provider. And the purpose of this interview is really about assessing your program suitability. What are your internship expectations, as well as your likelihood to make sure that you will complete the program successfully and on time. And after the interview, the PY provider will then send you the notification about your admission status. And of course, if you are accepted, then you will be provided with instructions around next steps and what you can expect. It's also really important to consider your own level of commitment, readiness, and the efforts that you are prepared to put in. This is a program that is asking of your time and your commitment, and of course, your finances to do. So you want to make the best, get the most out of it. So when it comes to that, you really need to ask yourself, are you ready to commit to a professional year program? So one of the things that I think is really worth highlighting is that the program is going to deliver it across a minimum of 45 weeks. And depending on when you start and looking to finish, particularly if there are public holidays like Easter's or end of year, Christmas, that minimum of 45 weeks may extend out a little bit as well. But it is the duration, the maximum duration is to complete in 12 calendar months. And so and particularly because the program is gazetted by Home Affairs, there is a requirement to make sure that all parts of the program, so that's the classroom training, your internship, and of course any online delivery, that has to be completed onshore. So I think it's quite important to really consider, if you are just finished your degree, you no doubt probably want to take a nice big holiday. When you are offshore outside of Australia, you will not be able to conduct any of the activity required for the professional year program. So there's some decisions and some prioritization for you to consider what you're ready to commit to as well. Before you start your classroom training, there will be orientation provided by both your PY provider as well as us at ACS. And that is a very important step before you can start going into classes, because it sets you off on the right foot. It talks about the policies, what you can expect, the admin processing, and where to get help. And of course, any other benefits and resources that you can access either as an ACS member or as a student enrolled at the particular PY provider as well. Time commitment is something that you do need to consider. I have set up an approximate time commitment of course, once you do enroll and start, that may look a little bit different, but as a general rule, the classroom delivery can be expected to be around 8 hours a week. It may be across 2 days, or it may be kind of like doing, going to work. It may be all delivered in that 8 hours, delivered in 1 day in a week. Your internship as well, the expectation is at least 3 days a week of internship, as well as you need to consider there's about 3 to 5 hours a week on top of that with the online course that ACS delivered that looks at your career development as well. Efforts, this program potentially will challenge you. It should challenge you. Otherwise, you're not learning anything new. So consider what efforts you're prepared to put in. Most importantly, you have to show up. The program has a requirement on 100% attendance, but requirement aside, you need to show up, because otherwise you're not happening to the learnings and the development that you set out to achieve. Be proactive, start building those networks outside of your university space. So engage with your classmates, engage with your trainers and your mentors. A lot of the time, these trainers and mentors, they have significant, they have developed their career in the tech sector for a significant time. So a lot of times those career magical moments, they do happens outside of a classroom as well. So stay connected with people at the right time. It is going to boost what you get out of this program as well. This is a really good opportunity in this program to start really creating those good, healthy habits around balancing your work-life commitment. The best way to put it is treat this like a job. show up, commit to what you to what you set off to do, but also look after yourself. A lot of the time, it's a great idea to start letting your social network, your family, your friends, even maybe you have a part-time job, your workplace, to know that, hey, I'm committed to doing this because I want to develop my career, and I'm seeking the support for my village, for my people, to remind me and keep me stay on track and stay focused on what I'm trying to achieve. Last but not least, your attitude. We just talked about treat this like a job. So what are your ethics when it comes to in a workplace environment? When you come across an issue or a problem, what is your attitude about it? How do you go about resolving that? And how do you adapt to new environment? No doubt, doing the program will probably present you new sets of challenges never faced before. And I promise you, on the other side of it is new sets of skills and experience that you gain that is going to shape the kind of professional that you will be tomorrow. And of course, don't forget us at ACS. I highly recommend you to take the full advantage of the free membership that you get out of doing the PY program. Here's some of the benefits that we find PY participants particularly have enjoyed. I think it's really worthwhile to sort of call on particularly the membership give you access to Skillsoft, which is an online learning and library with heaps of resources, from preparing you for vendor IT certifications, which is very important in career development in the tech sector, through to those soft skills and leadership skills that you need to develop as you progress with your career. And of course, with the migration skill assessment team being next door to us, having access to dedicated events, dedicated resources that really sort of help you to get ahead on what the future will look like when you're starting to finish the PY program and you are looking at continuing on with that migration pathway journey. And it's something that I recently talked to a few international students, and they weren't quite aware of, is the ACS career platform as well. Essentially, the platform offers all our members access to career advice, job seeking content, insights into working with specific companies. And what it also has is a place for members to find internship or graduate positions offered from our ACS professional partners, as well as our members that are seeking to employ tech graduates as well. Also, very importantly, sort of going back to the very beginning of your application enrollment process, which is to choose the right provider for you. We have 8 accredited providers, all of which through our audit and validation process offer very high quality programs, and with at least one in every state and territory. But you need to find the right one for yourself. I'm very happy to say we have recently just released a new guide, particularly to support you in that search, which is a how to choose the right PY provider guide. I think some really handy tips is consider particularly the program structure. When you're talking to the admissions team, or perhaps you're utilizing an agent to support with your application, ask about the approach the provider has when it comes to delivering the classroom the training. Is it seminars, workshops? Are there any group work? And also really consider your availability and preferences around what's the weekly schedule of the classroom trainings are like, what are the class hours, the intake dates is very important, and how frequently they have new enrollments open. And also, particularly around the internship placement, it's always good to, before you search, consider what you want and what you need as well. For example, are there any specific types of roles or projects that you want to be involved in? Do you have preference for location for your internship? And are you flexible with the days of the weeks for your to do your internship, or do you have any specific preferences? Because once you have a clear idea of your own preference, then they can turn into very specific questions that you can raise with the PY providers as well. Ask about, their placement assistance, and what's their success rate like? What are their track records with placing students into internships? And also, what are their industry partnerships or network like? Because that all has a lot to do with whether or not how quickly and how successfully you gain that internship opportunity. And of course, find out about what others are saying about them. Online reviews is always a good place to start, but then also ask your circle of international student friends and graduates to get a sort of a closer perspective as well. Okay, so I talked a lot at you. It's probably a good opportunity to hear a little bit from those who actually really have either have lived the experience or still living the experience. So I'm super excited to welcome our two very special guest speakers today. We have Shreya, who's joining us from Hobart today, and Shreya is a graduate from the University of Tasmania with her master's being in IT and systems. Currently, she's still doing the program, and for her internship, she's actually working as a service desk officer at Hydro Tasmania, where she gets to leverage the technical knowledge that she gained from her degree to enhance the IT operations at Hydro Tasmania. And having recently just completed the 32 weeks classroom training as well, she's been able to utilize those insights gained from the classroom training into right now being in the Australian workplace. And she's super eager to share her journey and help any students navigating their tech careers. And of course, we also have Santosh, who very recently graduated from our PY program, and with a master's degree in data science from Curtin University. Santosh also has a background in electrical engineering as well. So talking about the the dynamic of your career path. Santosh is after finishing his PY program, he's currently is the solutions engineer at Nexus Technology, where he's specializing in developing custom robotics solution for industrial applications using machine learning and of course computer vision as well. So welcome to the both of you. We're in a online environment, so you can't hear the the clapping. But yeah, so let's warm up a little bit, I guess, with an easy icebreaker question. I guess for me, it's really, in one sentence, if you could just describe what's your biggest surprise when that you encounter in the professional year program, let's say compared to your initial expectation. And Santosh, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, so in my case, because I already had some experience from a different industry and I was transitioning to IT, but I was again, looking for work in the resources industry with an IT within an IT service. So I thought that I might be the only rare case, but to my surprise, when you go there are so many people, different various backgrounds who are trying to do the same thing, and then you build this support system around you. It's not just the PYP program; it brings all the people who are trying to achieve what you are trying to achieve together at the same place. So the Saturdays are very well invested. That's what I see in a PYP. If you're trying to do it alone, you might you will definitely get there, but if you have the same type of people around you and a good support system, probably it could be more efficient.
Yeah,
Yeah,
connection
so
and community.
community, yeah, community
Yeah.
is the best part that you could say. I mean, as an international student, you might get lost because a lot of people for bachelors. I mean, it's a different story. But people who are in their masters, they would have done their bachelor's already in their home country, and the setup of being a student here in Australia is entirely different, because, and especially if you have come with your family, because there is living expense, living cost that you have to take care, and probably you have some university expenses too. Um, in that case, you will have to work around that, and you have very less time to actually focus on your career goals. So you have to, make sure that it's very efficient, you're on track, you're doing the right thing. So going to PYP is one of the best things that I did. So I did not have to think on a Saturday, what should I do? I just get up, went there, and then you're on the track, the right people, and doing the thing. Yeah. So that worked
Yeah.
well for me.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. And what about you, Shreya? What surprised you the most compared to what you thought you were going into the professional year program versus, now?
For me, Lamo, the best surprise for me during the PY program was realizing how open I could be with the people that I have never met before. I mean, it's like I always thought I was an introvert person. I lack in confidence, being with around the people. But the ACS PY program, the module is so thoughtfully designed to for the international students, not only to focus on the technical knowledge but also to develop the soft skills or towards your professional attitude and the teamwork you can do around the modules in like in a group activities. And I think that is the valuable experience that you can gain from this PY program.
Yeah, awesome. And I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Like we talk about soft skills, but it's first being sort of put in outside of your comfort zone. If you're someone who's not, extremely
Definitely.
extroverted,
Yes.
but and then all of a sudden you've gone from classroom, someone from 2 years, from your degree, 3 years, to you're in a brand new environment, and in just 32 weeks or a short period of time, really rapidly building that relationship. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. Okay, well, let's go in a little bit deeper. I think the first question from me is really, I'm hoping that you can share with everybody, is why PY? What factor influenced your decision to pursue the program? I think Santosh, you sort of talked a little bit about that
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'll probably post a question to you, Shreya. Why PY, and even if you can dive a little bit deeper into, what was your selection process? How did you choose a provider?
So, for me, after finishing my degree, I knew I had to join professional year program because many of my friends and my seniors were already enrolled in the course. I had some information regarding the professional year program, and also I understand this course would give me not only for the 5 points from a PR process, but also it will help me to start somewhere at anywhere. This would shape my career as well. But when choosing the PY provider, I basically what I did was I just googled the how many PY providers are giving this PY courses. I went to the Google and learn about their see some reviews, learn about the company, what are their networking types, and this is how I started the journey of PY.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I think that it's particularly, I feel like the younger generation of consumers always, let's go on Google. Let's have a search and have a look at the review, and start the research from there. And of course, I hope that, with the new release of our guide, that's something that we can support the process for many of you here today as well. And what factors for you were particularly more important when it come to, finding the right provider?
For me, it was the networking that they have, like it was the internship that they can provide, and
Mhm.
also the financial will come as a
Of
part of
course.
this program. And I also search like how how in a small group, like how many people they put that in a
Class
program, so
size.
that yeah, the sizes,
Mm.
class sizes, so that the mentor can provide each one attention regarding to like how to provide the best mentorship to the students.
Yeah.
So that's the factor that was important to me.
Yeah, of course. And I'm glad you sort of talked about the class size and then the trainers, because I think my next question is I'll start with you first, Ria, because it's a
Yeah.
nice segue. Because you just finished 32 weeks of the classroom training, as you're now going into the internship component of your
Yeah.
professional year program. Yeah, tell me about the experience of the classroom experience, and I would love to hear a snippet of what I recently read on your LinkedIn post as well, which was so wonderful to see.
For me, I never thought the PY program would be so much enjoyable. I get to explore myself in those programs. Basically, what happens in the PY is we get to do with the modules, and what really stood out for me is how the ACS and PY program build those modules where we focus on building the small resume, or where we have a mock interview preparation, or where we get to present ourselves in front of like 20 peoples. So that was something else for me. And then during the course we get to do the group activities together, where we build friendship around the people, with the people. Well, I have friends that I see in the university before, but I never had that gut to ask them like, do you want to go for a cup of coffee or something like that? But I found myself in the PY classes. I went there, and like just sharing your stories. People want to, the student wants to hear your stories, and they wants to listen. They want to tell their stories. Like we have like a community. It was really what do we say? It was really helpful when we can share our experiences together throughout while applying for the jobs, or if any rejection coming, we can at least share our experiences. I know, and that was a safe place to like explore ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Um, and it's having that sort of dedicated focus to really focus on, this is the time I'm gonna, and to think I'm gonna apply for a job, and but having the support, I think,
Yeah.
because I think everyone here have a story about job searching, applying for jobs, and it's a very isolating experience sometimes, whether it's the rejection or getting a call from a recruiter just doing a screen, first screen calling. It's to be able to share that the excitement, or sometimes maybe the disappointment as well. It's quite important. And what about you, Santosh? Like, you obviously you finished the program, so
Yeah.
the classroom training was a long way ago. But how did you find the training? Whether or not it prepared you for your internship, or also now that you're working full time?
Yeah, so I chose NIT for a particular reason, because I think we in Perth, I live in Perth. So in Perth, we have about 3 providers. So I applied to all of them and I met all of them. So it's the same interview like the pre-interview that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So in that, it was the internship component and the clarity that they provided. Okay, this is how you do it, and this is how the support system is. And it's not that we come to the end of your PYP course and then we get you on the internship, but no, we'll be looking at your application from the beginning, from day one itself, how to
Okay.
prepare for the modules. Also on the parallel, ACS has a very good intensive preparation program where they take you through group. The first is they make you learn how a group task has to be done, and then slowly it goes to personality building, and then how you communicate within a team environment in an organization, and
Mm-hmm.
then the writing skills, also how you have to write in a corporate, how you have to
Yeah.
write in a professional network. And then comes the internship part, the interview. But with the NIT, it was right from the beginning itself, there was so much focus on the internship thing.
Yeah.
And then by the time the internship model came, we were already pretty much organized. We had all the stuff going on, and then we had the interview mock sessions. So this all helped us a lot. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons for me to go with NIT. Yes, their clarity and their reputation also in Perth in arranging internships, that was great.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. And I think that's that is why we sort of produced a guide, is because on how to choose a provider, because everyone has very specific different needs, and a bit of that support to really understand what's important to me is very different to what's important to the person next to me, and having a guide to sort of do your own research so that you get the best out of the program. So thanks for sharing that. And let's sort of talk about the, and Shreya, I'm particularly interested because you just now started the internship component. So what do you say, looking back at your classroom and all the preparation leading up to now you're working at Hydro Tasmania? What has been some of the specific tools or knowledge and skills that you've been able to leverage now in your everyday work at Hydro Tasmania?
For me, with the PY program, the first thing that introduced was the mentor, and who guided me throughout the PY program, who always told me like to start somewhere, start anywhere, and no matter if you are taking a small step, it will lead you to somewhere. Those were very encouraging word for me, and that is where I started finding. Look, I have a big dreams like doing a business analyst and all of the stuff in my career pathway, but to do that I need somewhere to start. So I started building network. I started going to the online events that ACS was providing, or they have a per CPU app where you can access via phone, and then you can start doing the certifications. For me, that was the valuable experience that I gained from the PY program, the skills that I learned from the certifications, and the digital, the LinkedIn always came in hand as well with the certification. And this was the part for me.
Yeah, and sounds like you're really taking charge. And we all start from somewhere. So having a goal and knowing what you want, and then being able to then it's sometimes the first step, and then you work the steps towards how to get there. And everybody has to start somewhere. And I'm really glad that you started. Um, Speaking of career dreams, that you were talking about data analysts. Santosh, what are your plans for the future? What does your career trajectory look like? Because, you just finished a PY, you're working right now.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to be a data analyst when I started, but as you know that IT career and tech can be very dynamic, and also there are very thin boundaries. You have to understand the difference between a data engineer, analyst, and scientist. So now at the moment I'm doing a work which is somewhere between a business analyst and a data scientist in my company.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
we talk to the clients, we understand the requirements, and also we build products using data. And so it is somewhere. So we started with I started with something else, but probably I see myself going to a much more better place. So it can change in the beginning. Yeah, it can change. You can start somewhere, but the point is you have to start. You need to have a goal, and then if you work around it, somewhere you'll reach somewhere. At least if not the goal, maybe sometimes better, maybe sometimes near it. But you need to have that goal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. I think we need to have a plan that you can take it to the later on, so you can work around with that. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And look, I'm just looking at the time, and I want to make sure there are time to answer any questions. But I guess to both of you, you're now kind of, and I think that the lovely thing of having you here as well is that you're both still working towards the dream and the goal of living and working in Australia. And but you're perhaps a few steps ahead of some of our audience here. So sort of what advice would you give to someone in our audience today, and they're considering this path? Santosh?
So I would say that it's a very good decision that you have taken. First of all, if you want to move to Australia, it is a very beautiful country and it's a blessed country, and it has a very good support system for international students and community as well. Just be define your goals on what you want to do, and find the similar type of people that trying to achieve that goals, and find the correct system, support system community, and do the networking. everything in Australia works a lot on networking. There was a very senior to me who said that if you are given a choice to score a 90 in your uni or meet two people who would be potential employers, he said that take the two people who would be potential employers and score a 70. That's fine. So that hit in my head. So that is something that we have to understand, that networking works very big here in Australia.
Yeah, love that. And what about you, Shreya?
One of the greatest aspects of being in Australia is where you can choose the freedom for your career pathway. So, as a international student, considering the PY program, my advice to everybody who is joining this PY program is to embrace this opportunity and then take full advantages of the ACS courses that's available. Go on the online events, build the networking, and like take the from the mentor that you are provided, take full advantages of them, like building your resume or with the interview preparations, that it's like you are going in the real field and having those interviews. So I just want to tell every student that's listening today to never give up, and then just take every opportunity that you can to get to land where you want to be.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And how encouraging. And I will wrap up the rounds of questions so that we do make some space for any questions that come through. So please be on standby if there's any questions specifically for you both. But thank you so much for being here today, because I think we hear a lot of success stories, and success stories are awesome to hear. But there's magic in success in working towards a grander and bigger goal as well. So I love the fact that you can come in, while you're still working towards your ultimate goal, your big dream, and share how's it's been for you. And it hasn't been easy, but it sounds like it's been so rewarding for the both of you as well. I will now move on to questions, as the key presentations for today is over. I'm just going to try and make sure that we are stopping the spotlight. And we're back to the presentation. Let's just see if there's any questions. I feel like my my colleague in the team have been very helpful in getting through the questions. Do we have any new questions or questions for me, or particularly for Shreya or Santosh? Give you a few minutes, but I think yeah, my lovely colleagues Atin and Stefan have been very very quick with addressing questions. So thank you so much, Stefan and Atin. That's okay. We can wait for the questions to come up as we go as well. So as we're wrapping up here, one of the things that I'd love to invite you is to please join me for the next 2 webinars. So today is actually the first in a series of webinars about a professional year program. Fear not, the next 2 webinars is not going to be exactly the same content, because there's so much to learn about professional year program, and I do want to break it apart and really get into the details of it. So next month, I'll be hosting a webinar around professional year, particularly spotlighting on the internship. I can see there has been some questions around internship, so I really want to make sure that you do get a sense of what's that experience like. And I'm happy to share, I do have also 2 very special guests from a current PY student who is doing his internship, as well as a employer representative who is at a company who hosts our PY interns as well. And then just before Christmas in December, we'll probably, I also want to really dive deeper into particularly that online course, the Professional Environments online course that is delivered exclusively for professional year and IT student by ACS, by my team of wonderful mentors that really look at making sure you're not just learning from the curriculum, but you really are talking about how to take charge of your own own career development. And let me just have a look at what questions we have come through. I think it's any of the questions that are more specifically around skill migration, unfortunately, we won't be able to address today. If you do have questions around intakes, intakes are determined by our the professional year program provider. So that certainly is one of those key questions that you want to consider when you are choosing a provider. And also what I want to take this opportunity to share with you are some of the free downloads and publications by ACS that I think may be particularly suitable for our group of audience today. So there is a wonderful guide on skilled migration. So really looking at, you know, the migration skill assessment done by ACS is a part of the migration journey and the experience. So this gives you a little bit of a broader view of what the stat look like. That's the pathway you want to pursue. And just hot off the press recently as well, our career team actually have published a careers guide on specifically for those who are looking to pursue a career in cybersecurity. So not only download the report, but also I would say please look out for any local or online events by ACS surrounding this this particular publication as well. We are at the end of our webinar today, and please, if you have your phone handy with you, I'll love for you to take a quick survey to let us know how we went for today. I am aware that there are still some questions that are specifically around your eligibility or suitability for the PY program. If we have not gotten to those questions, rest assured we will have a follow-up email and try to make sure that we can address everything as well. Once again, Shreya, Santosh, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
I know you're both busy, probably at work, sneaking out to support me and ACS. And thank you everyone for attending today. And again, like I said, we will make sure that if there's anything we haven't been able to address, and we can, we'll be sending a follow-up email to everybody. So without further ado, please all have a lovely rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you.